We go. Grand. Okay. Um, Feel free to turn your videos on. I can see Kirsty. She looks like she's in the tall grass, enjoying a daiquiri or some kind of
Iced coffee,
lovely,
I promise you.
lovely drink. Welcome if you haven't been before. Vicky, where are you from?
Hello guys, I'm from South Africa in
Mhm.
Joburg. So it was so nice to get your email and be able to be on the Zoom because we're on school holidays at the moment.
Well, that's nice. That's very nice. I did make a visit to Joburg back in 2016,
Oh
and
wow,
I worked at a school there for a week running training workshops for teachers, which was very exciting.
that's incredible.
Yeah, and got to know a little bit of Joburg in that time. Amazing place in all sorts of ways.
We'll just talk about the good ways for now.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it was great. Um, so welcome to Manor. Where are you? Tamana. Oh, you are muted, my dear. There you
I'm
go.
from Hi. Hi, David. I'm from Hong Kong and I'm a teacher here. So it's a
Lovely.
holiday time right now. So I just wanted to join this course just to know more about this course, and I'm interested in online doing this course.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, yes, fantastic. Normally we have Josie, who's at just about all the meetings. She also teaches in Hong Kong, um, but she's traveling at the moment through the Netherlands and the UK, so she's not
Okay.
able to come today. But if you come another time, you'll be able to meet her.
Okay, sure.
So these Zoom meetings have been going on since 2020, I think, when I
Oh,
first launched my course, the Creative Drama Teacher, inspiring drama teacher. That's it. And I should know the title of it. It's been going for four years now, and we've actually got about 100 people who have become participants in the course. And
okay.
that means that when they join, they have access to the course. So I'm just going to share my screen now and show you a little bit about that.
Thank you.
You can see the course. Let me just do this. And I'm going to go here, online courses. Okay, so here we go. It should be showing up any second now. So people can work through all these modules, and we have a mixture of people who take part, who are primary and secondary teachers. Some are teaching adults, some are storytellers, some are actors, and most people obviously are teachers. Um, so you can see that there are lots and lots of different modules, and with some of them, many of them, there are videos as well. And then the amazing thing is that over the 4 years, I've uploaded all these lesson plans on the left here. Um, and teachers who have taken part submit a lesson plan as part of their assignment. And I've chosen many of my favorite ones of these and uploaded them here. So we've got loads for 3 to 7 year olds, 7 to 11 year olds, all sorts. We've got videos, we've got lesson plans to go with them. And so it's become just a massive kind of resource. And it means that teachers can come to it whenever they like. They can work through it at any time. I used to have a 12-month time limit on it, but now I allow people to just stay on board once they are subscribed. And that means that they can come to these monthly Zoom meetings. This is the sign up page on my own website where it tells you all about it and the cost of it, etc., etc. So there's loads of information all about it on my drama resource website. So I'm going to come back to the meeting now and stop my long advertisement for the course. But after all, it is how we got here. And you did ask me. So here's the link to find out more about the course in the chat, in the chat window. And I've got some ideas about things that I would like to go through today. But if anybody has any questions or ideas for discussion, then I'm always open to those, because I really like hearing other people's problems, ideas, and I think it enables us to kind of move on and grow and learn as teachers. So my thoughts were for today was that I would tell you a little bit about a course that I've just run in Norwich with one of the members of this Zoom meeting group, called Yan, and she's from China. She actually came over to China to Norwich for a week, and ran a course which I'll tell you about with me. So I thought I'd show you some little bits of videos from that, some photos, and perhaps play a game with you. I've got a game called Pecking Order, which is from my book, 101 Drama Games and Activities, which some of you may know already. So what else? Also, last meeting, we worked on a poem called The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes, and we all did a little performance of part of it. After that, I was sent a video by a secondary school teacher of a performance that he put together of The Highwayman in his school, and I thought it was really amazing. And he said that I can show you a little bit of that, so I will do. So we're gonna learn a lot. But is there anything else that anybody would like to throw into the mix in this hour? Well, I'll tell you what, if I start, you can throw things in as we go along, all right? So where shall I start? Let me just go back to my, oh yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just find some photos to share with you. Let me just do this. Right, okay then. So is it going to work? Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm going to do it this way, I think. So, yeah. So I'm going to share my screen again and attempt to show you some videos, which might not be in the right format. So we're going to see what we can do. Okay. So let me just go to my program. Okay, here we go. So first of all, some photos, and of course, this is the wrong way round. I'm not sure if I can edit it. No, I can't. Let's open this. It's only going to allow me to open it in Photoshop right now. But here we go. Okay, so let's change that image, rotation, and we want to go counterclockwise. There we go. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, let's get rid of that annoying thing. So what we did with the kids, we were working on the story of Matilda by Roald Dahl. And we had 6 Chinese teenagers and their mums, plus Yan, came over to Norwich. And during the day, the mums went shopping and the teenagers did drama with myself and Yan. And one of the things we did that I really liked, very simply, was to get the kids to do drawings and then create freeze frames from these. And this proved to be a really good idea. I'm sure some of you already know about this. But what was really nice about it is it helped the kids to clarify what they were presenting in their freeze frames, and also to remember it when they came to perform it later on. So adding in speech balloons, as you can see here, gave them a bit of language to use. This was a chapter in Matilda where Matilda puts some glue inside her dad's hat and he can't take it off his head. And later on, his wife has to get the scissors out and cut the hat off and most of his hair as well. So that's one of the things we did. Other pictures that we used, we did a lot of drawing, including, as you might sort of see here, if I zoom in, some roll on the wall as well. So this is where you draw an outline of a character and you write characteristics of that person within the picture. I think I've got another one here. Let me just do this so I can see what the picture is. Okay, got a better one here. Okay, I think that's the one I've just showed you. So let's have a look at this one. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see a little bit more of the roll on the wall, but they were working on, we had some character images with words to go with them. And then they created all these amazing images. Right, sorry, it's out of control. Right, so that's that. And by the end of the week, what we did was we presented short scenes from Matilda, and I played some music from the musical, as well as some other music that I had. And we put on these very short extracts. But what I really liked about this, oh, that's not it. That's a lovely bowl of food there, looking very delicious, but it isn't what I want to show you. So we turned the lights off in the studio where we were. It was just a kind of conference room, actually. And we used the kids' mobile phones. Plus, they also discovered this green emergency light next to a neon light on the ceiling, which they used to create kind of horror. Oh, that's not it. That's me doing some stand-up. So I'm having a whale of a time here. Let me get rid of that window and get the one that's me doing some more stand-up comedy. And eventually we might get there. Right, what's this one? Oh, this is more like it. So here we go. Coming back in as Miss Trunchbull. Okay, I'll pause it there because you've probably not got a lot of idea about what's going on. But the idea is that there's a scene in the story where one of Matilda's friends puts a newt in a glass, which the headmistress then drinks. And here they were kind of acting out being the newt, being the glass, and the headmistress drinking it. So that one was with some music, some mobile phone lights, and some kind of horror film music. We had some other ones where we had more language, but I haven't honestly had time to edit them and go through them, which I will do for another meeting. But that kind of gives you a little bit of a flavour of what we did. Has anyone worked on Matilda themselves in drama or in English? Or maybe telling the story? Do switch your mic on, Kirsty, and tell us more.
Just a little bit, actually. I took a group of students to London and we did a workshop, a kind of dance and drama workshop on Matilda, and we saw the production of the West End musical, which was absolutely fantastic. But there's so much in it for character work and the magic elements, you know, so many ideas that you can do, and some great, just some great characters, Trunchbull and Matilda's friends. So it's not really something I use in the classroom particularly, but I've done it as more sort of extracurricular. Yeah.
Well, these kids were going off to the musical this week, and
Fantastic.
I do agree about the characters. They're almost like commedia dell'arte characters, actually, because you've got Miss Trunchbull, who's this kind of big, lumbering, scary head teacher. You've got Matilda with her magic. You've got Dad, who can't stop watching TV and telling Matilda to stop reading. And you've got Miss, what's she called? Miss
Miss Honey.
Honey, who's the lovely teacher. And the more I think about it, those kind of ally to commedia dell'arte characters like the lover and the captain and various others as well. And maybe Matilda is almost at times a little bit like Arlecchino playing tricks on people. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend the book. It's quite there's a lot of stories in there, so you can kind of pick and choose what you use. But those kind of techniques were really fun to use with that book, and I think you could also use them for others as well. Okay, any questions or comments about that? Sarah.
Hi.
Hello.
Just to say hello. Just to say that there is a before Musical Theatre International got hold of it and charge you an arm and a leg to use it. You can get a 20-minute version and a 40-minute version from the Royal Shakespeare Company that they linked up with the writer whose name's gone out of my head, the fantastic comedic writer. Tim Minchin, that's it, yes. Yeah. So that's a way of getting a bit of a script without having to pay a fortune for it.
Oh, that's really helpful, actually.
Yeah, so I used it about 5 years ago and did the 40-minute version for my sort of year sixes. And it was great fun. So, but it will, to get any form of script now, well, I don't know whether it's still available to buy.
Yeah, okay.
Honest, but yeah, Royal Shakespeare Company had a version of it, 20-minute version and a 40-minute version.
Okay. Well, I guess some of us will hunt that down afterwards and see if we can find it. That sounds really good. Were you able to use some of the songs as well?
I did. I did buy the music license for it, and then I sort of slightly intermingled them. It was before it was readily available to purchase as a whole entirety. But you could have performed it without the music. As well.
And I was using music in that part, which wasn't from Matilda as well.
Yes.
So you could add your own music to it to avoid that kind of copyright and make up your own version of the story, which is essentially what we started to do in that week. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. I wonder whether I was looking through my drama and thinking of looking for a game that we haven't played yet on Zoom. And I found that one that I used to play quite a lot in the olden days called Pecking Order. So maybe I will play this with you now. But I just noticed that Nabila has appeared on screen. And Nabila, could everybody else switch off their mics? But could Nabila switch her mic on? His or her,
Hello.
because I can't even see closely what gender you are or anything or where you are. So tell us all about you.
Hi, I'm a teacher in Mexico, and I've recently taken on drama this year. I'll be starting that in August this year, and I'm really looking forward to putting the scheme of work together for year 9 is the class that I'm working with, and hopefully we do something called a library night, which happens in November, where our students get to showcase their work from English, media, and drama. And I'm hoping that we can get something together for that. have something like ready to perform for library night, and then we also have the end of year play production as well, which I'll be running this year. So I just wanted to get some tips on how to do this. I've never taught drama in my life, but I'm an English teacher. I'm the head of English at the school, so yeah.
Well, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
You've got teachers here. I know at least 2 of them here mount their own productions
Wow.
at school quite regularly, I believe. And they may be able to give you some advice. If you want to join our course, which I was talking about earlier on, the Inspiring Drama Teacher course, that's a really good way of linking in with the community. And Josie, who isn't here today, has worked with my colleague Jan, who came over to Norwich recently. So there's all kind of links that people make and sometimes end up working with each other, either online or face to face, or in Josie's and Jan's case, a mixture, a hybrid. So it's a really good way of learning from each other.
Definitely.
Yes. So Nabila, is there anything in particular? Maybe you can think of a burning question that you've got about
the first unit that I'm thinking for our year 9s is, because we're a Mexican school, we're a bilingual Mexican and British school, is I want our students to explore their identity and explore this idea of their heritage and what identity means, and then perform a play maybe. I've seen on Toolkit Drama Toolkit website, I think there's a play or production that they did, a 10-minute play called No Hablo Español, and it's this idea that when a student leaves maybe Mexico, or if a returning Mexican comes back and they don't have the fluent Spanish, and how do they like navigate that identity crisis and things like that. So that's what I want to put together, something that would help me prepare for that.
And are you looking to devise this from the students' own experiences and
Definitely.
stories?
Yes.
It sounds like a brilliant project.
We have a lovely cohort of students from a range of different Latino backgrounds who are now living in Mexico, in Querétaro, which is where I'm based.
Yeah. So I wonder if anybody has some gems, words, or questions even to ask Nabila about this, or advice that they might give. Any thoughts? I mean, I think devising is great. I used to run a theatre company called Tiebreak, which was my main career for many, many years. And most of the productions that we put on for the first 10 years were devised by the company. And one of the methods that we used to use was improvising around a particular theme or story and recording it, simple as that. And then afterwards, what we would do is we would listen to it, because in those days there was no video. So we would record on old-fashioned cassette tapes and listen through to them and start to develop a script in that way.
Okay.
Another method that I would recommend is talking about a story and then using freeze frames to make a kind of storyboard.
See, this will be their first time actually doing drama as a subject. Normally drama is part of the English curriculum in year 7 and year 8, and then it becomes its own subject in year 9. So I'm going to be teaching them. I've looked at Oak National Academy, and I'm probably going to build in some of the stuff that they have from year 7 unit there, about like levels. And I'm trying to think of what I really enjoyed myself as a drama student, and it was learning about how body language and body positioning and things like that are really important when crafting a piece of drama.
Well, it sounds like you're really on the right track, and you've got some fantastic ideas. I think personally, starting with body language, freeze frames, looking at status, could be really helpful.
What would be a good way to like overcome the shyness?
Yeah.
Because I'll have year 9 boys who are going to look at me like, why are you asking me to do this?
Yeah. Yes, Sarah, and then Kirsty.
I think try and avoid everybody performing, like one group performing to everybody. I would get them to perform to each other in smaller groups, so everybody's performing at the same time. So if you've got sort of 8 groups, you've got 2 groups performing to each other there, 2 groups performing to each other there, so that nobody's feeling isolated and on the spot. Really.
Like a tableau.
Well, just that everybody, whatever performance opportunities you're giving them, don't ever put like 3 children on the stage as such and then everybody watching them. It's all that is where you get the shyness and the embarrassment. If you create opportunities for the children to all perform in small groups, sharing with each other, then it's all noisy and chaotic and busy, but it doesn't matter because they're all getting that confidence to have a go, and that they've achieved it together.
Oh, I like that.
I've been a specialist drama teacher for 2 years, and I've been coming along to some of these fantastic sessions, and sort of I've pulled together my 4 learning objectives of voice, body, face, space.
Oh, I like that.
Everything I do refers to those 4 skills. So, obviously you can then focus in on the voice, or you can focus in on body, or you can focus in on what your expression is, your face, or the space that you're moving, or the speed that you're moving in. And I found having those hooks of those 4 skills has really helped me teach. I mean, I teach from nursery to 11-year-olds, so I'm slightly younger than you, and that has just been a really useful way of me getting across what I want to teach, but just in a very explicit way.
But then if you've got the groups performing towards each other, how would you assess that?
Well, you can pop round, walk around and circulate, or you might even get them to have a little bit of feedback to each other, and then you can see how they might react to that feedback.
See, as an English teacher, I'm very used to having a pen in my hand and going around and marking as I'm walking around the class.
That's been a real change for me too.
I'm a bit like, how am I going to be doing this live marking within the class as well as getting them to...
You'll feel it. You will feel it. You'll see those that will stand out and those that will need a little more encouragement. Your little evening project thing that you were thinking about doing, your library time, again, another idea that I got from this group was physical theatre. With my year 6s, I did some sort of silent movie type work. And we talked about Laban, didn't we, here, David? We learned a lot about that a couple of times, and so I sort of took that idea of physicality, and then I got some really, and the children had to devise a little, and I used trestle masks, so they had no visual face. So I took away the face skill, and they only had body and body and space really to be able to move, to create. And I found some really tacky elevator music. And they had to change in their scenes. There were about 5 or 6 of them in each group, and they had to change from like sorrow to happiness, or from frustration to contentment, and they had to show that with their body and the way they thought about. And I gave them a venue, so it had to be the playground, or it was the dining table and things like that. And then that was a very, very, they had to have an opening freeze frame position and an ending freeze frame position. And it was really gave them very, very strict guidelines of what they had to achieve. And then we performed those to parents. And it was really successful and
very simple. Yeah.
Very simple. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm
Thank
aware
you.
that, can I bring Kirsty in? Because I know she had some points as well.
Well, hi. I just wanted to say, Nabila, we're talking about, well, first of all, just go to your assessment ideas. I think that collaboration is a really important area to assess on, and that's, getting the kids working together. Following on from what Sarah said, something like 10-second objects, which, I mean, David's got some great books. Drop of a hat, and there's a primary drama book. I mean, I know that's older than primary group, but it's the same kind of ideas, just adapted to a slightly older level. And that gets the kids, when there's a challenge, you say, okay, everybody make me a washing machine, and they've got 10 bodies or 6 bodies. They have to make their washing machine, and you count down, and then you can look round, and you can add a kind of a challenge there too, which is the best one, or bring it to life, or that type of thing. But
I remember doing that at school myself. I think it was a fridge. I had to be a fridge, and somebody had to come and open me, and I had to respond to them taking stuff out of me. And I was like, "Oh no, you've taken my cheese!" I love that.
Well, it's all that kind of that kind of helps to really break down the inhibitions of, like you say, these boys that are kind of going, "What's going on here?" Sometimes that element of having a little bit of a challenge, if you say, okay, I'm going to pick the best one every time, and you sort of try to share it out, so everybody kind of gets, they like that part of feeling like they did well, or sometimes then you can change the group dynamic, mix the groups, make the groups bigger, make them smaller, keep changing it up until you kind of find a way that works. Just to come back to your actual project, I just had two very quick ideas. Mexican, British music, different types of music that might evoke ideas, and prop ideas, that what is typically something that's very British, or something that's very Mexican, or something that a child could take a hold of and talk about and create a story around. Anyway,
that's really good.
Thank
you. That's a great one.
Okay, well, you're very welcome. But yeah, so some great ideas. I mean, I just find I've worked with David in person twice. I think he came to our school in France, and I came and did a workshop with him. And his books are fantastic because they're really easy to do, just easy to pick up. And I mean, sessions like this, where you get an opportunity to work with other practitioners, just on the off chance of discovering some new information, it's always really enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I was just going to share with you very briefly this. So here's a 10-second object I did with some teachers.
Not talk to anyone else, stranger.
I'd be terrified of getting them to sitting on each other.
Yeah. Well, that one is obviously a bit of a. Could people turn off their mics for a moment, because we've got some background sound. That one obviously was a bit out there. Normally, I wouldn't expect people to jump on top of each other. Having said that, teenagers are great for doing that. But you can set some ground rules as to how you want them to work. But I did 10-second objects yesterday with some Italian students, and I've used them with all ages, from young primary through to adults, and they are great little activities. And the reason I use them, and I use them in my training with teachers all the time, is because it just does introduce in a fun way the idea of using your body to physically communicate something, and to collaborate and be creative with other people. So in that very small kind of 10-second space which they've got to make the object and then to share it, it's fun, it's funny, everybody comes up with something different, and it kind of sets them up for moving on to things like freeze frames, which are then a really good step into improvisation. So, I think all those will help you, Nabila.
What about thought tracking? How would I go about getting, so I understand how freeze frames work. They have this concept and they turn it into physical space. How would I introduce this idea of thought tracking and how to, because the bilingualism is something, again, I want to play on, is the fact that they can speak very good Spanish, but very limited English. So I want to be encouraging thought tracking. I have no idea how to bring thought tracking into it.
Well, you just simply, you set up a freeze frame and you literally tap someone on the shoulder. Or some people like to use, a word bubble, like a speech bubble, and hold it above their heads. So they've got this kind of physical thing to symbolize what they're doing. So you can also play about with, you can have a thought bubble, what the character's thinking, and a speech bubble, what they're saying. So those things might be the same, or they probably will be slightly different. And I was just wondering whether you could have some kind of bilingual thing going on with that, where you have like the Spanish thought and the English thought. But with young kids and with language learners, what you'll find is they will work at their own level. So if they're beginners in English, then their output will be much simpler. And if they are more advanced, then obviously they're able to express themselves more. But I always find with thought tracking that it definitely develops over time with confidence. So they might start off with a word or two. You can also ask them questions so that, you pull out what you want to hear. And then once you've done that a few times, I do what I call action clip, where you clap your hands and ask them to bring the scene to life for 10 seconds, literally 10 seconds. And this is really great because it's not very exposing. And the kids have already thought about how the characters feel by the way they've made their body shapes. Then they've maybe said one or two words. And when you clap your hands, they all come to life together without any rehearsal. So there's actually, they can't be wrong because they haven't rehearsed something which they then forget. They're just making it up in the moment. So do have a look at the website, because most of this stuff is on there, and buy a book or two. You can get them on Kindle as well as paperback with most of my books. Having said all that, we've talked quite a lot. So why don't we play a game? All right. So I'm going to demonstrate a game. Let's see, we've got 6 people. This would work really well. So I'm going to demonstrate it in the whole group, and then I'm probably going to send you into breakout rooms to see if you can play this game in a small group. So the game is called Pecking Order, and the way that we originally played it in my theatre company was we would have 3 people on stage at a time, but you can change that number, and they literally have a pecking order of 1, 2, 3. So 1 has the highest status, 2 is in the middle, and 3 has the lowest status. So for example, let's try one out. Who would like to do some improvisation? Put your hand up if you'd like to have a go. Nabila? Okay. How about Vicky? Tamana? Can we try those 3? Could you switch your microphones on? And what I need to do is to get the chat window, which I'll just do. So I'm going to send, let's see, I'm going to send Vicky a number, okay? And I'm going to send, who else have we got here? I'm going to send Tamana. Let me send Tamana a number as well. So don't say your number aloud. So Vicky and Tamana have a number. Nabila does not. So what happens in pecking order is you set a situation. For example, it could be doctor, nurse, and patient. And 2 people in the improvisation have secretly been told what status they are. The others and certainly Nabila in this case, has to work out where she is in the pecking order. All right. So we're going to have a little improvisation here. And let's see. Nabila, you're the doctor. All right. Vicky, you're the patient. And Tamana, you're the nurse. So Vicky, you've just got to come into, imagine you've just come into the doctor's surgery and everybody is there. You're just going to tell us about some imaginary illness, and the others are going to talk to you. And at the same time, we're going to see if they can work out what their status is. Good luck.
Good afternoon. I seem to have a huge problem. My stomach is in pain. I cannot understand what is going on. I've just walked in and oh my goodness, I cannot stand it. Help me, help me.
Okay, Vicky. It's lovely to meet you.
No, you don't understand. This is the worst pain I've ever been in.
Okay, maybe my nurse could help calm you down.
Yeah. Do you want? Hi, hello. Do you want to have some stomach pack, or do you want to hurt this thing? Is it really pain? Do you want to some painkiller? Shall I give you?
No,
or what do you want?
No. I think they need to check. I need x-rays. I need something. Maybe even a CAT scan. Something's going on. I'm not sure what. But you have to look. You have to look.
Okay. Shall I take you to the doctor, please? Please. Can I get a wheelchair?
Specialist.
Would you like to sit on the wheelchair?
Specialist you've got. I need a specialist.
You need a specialist. I need to look for the specialist. Please, you have to be.
This is the worst hospital I've ever been to. I cannot believe there's not a specialist on call. What is going on? The pain is getting worse. No, help.
Doctor, there is a patient.
Oh,
She's
dear.
fine. Please, can you help her?
With another patient at the moment.
No, but she's really in the pain. She really wants your help.
Okay. Well, we'll
Please,
be coming over to you next, Vicky. You just have to hold on.
Next, I should.
Vicky,
Oh my
Vicky,
goodness!
please
this pain is
wait.
driving
You
me
need
crazy.
to calm down first. Take a deep breath.
No calming. I need that specialist. I need the doctor. Where is he?
All right.
Yes.
Some amazing acting going on there.
Well done,
And,
Vicky. Well done, Tamana.
Let's find out if Nabila has any idea where she is in the pecking order or what numbers the other two are.
I think Tamana was number 3 and Vicky was number 1. That would leave me in the middle.
That was absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So well done. It's quite hard
Yay.
to play this on Zoom, obviously, because sometimes the voices get cut off. So I think what you need to do, even though Vicky was doing an amazing job of being number 1 and flipping well, making sure that she got what she wanted, you've got to try and make some space for the other people to talk on Zoom. But it was, can I say, it was highly entertaining. So what I would suggest is I'm going to put you into let's try 2 groups, because I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who have their cameras on. And I'm going to read out some other situations you can have. Could be, let's see. Oh yeah, you could have a detective, a policeman, and a suspect. All right. So those are really good for a group of 3. And for another one, you could have a teacher, a parent, and a student. Okay. It's making something you will be quite familiar with, I'm sure. And the main thing is that 2 of you in the breakout room need to know what your status is. So the person who doesn't know what their status is perhaps should switch off their sound and cover their eyes for 10 seconds while the other 2 perhaps hold up fingers to decide which status they are. All right. You're going to have to find your own way of doing this in your breakout groups. But so let me get the breakout group set up. And if you have any questions while I'm doing that, fire away. Okay. Let's assign these. Okay. So just need to make sure that we've got people who have got their cameras on. I think this works out. All right. So any questions? Let's say room 1, which is going to be Gail, Nabila, Valerie, and Vicky. You are going to be the detective, the policeman, and the suspect. Room 2, which is Karen, Kirsty, Sarah, and Tamanna. You are going to be the teacher, student, and parent. All right. You're going to just play with the improvisation for about 4 or 5 minutes, like we did, and at the end, see if the person can work out what status they are. Any questions before I send you away?
I don't understand why you've arrested me.
Listen, Jeff, we're here like 3 hours. Can you start asking, like answering to my questions?
But you haven't asked me any
3 hours we're here.
questions.
What?
You haven't asked me any decent questions.
You were on the crime scene when we came. What were you doing
I
there?
was just walking past. Nothing happened.
Can I just pause you for a moment? Vicky, do you know what character you are?
I didn't hear. I think I'm am I the policeman?
Yeah, you're the policeman.
Okay.
Why don't I make Vicky detective number 2? All right. But I think a policeman, it's a bit ambiguous. So we'll
Okay.
have 2 detectives and then continue from where you got up to.
I was just walking past, and then you decided to arrest me for no reason.
We got a lead to come in, and we've been looking for somebody with red headphones and a blue balloon behind them. And you fit our description very well.
But it wasn't me. It was not me.
So who were you? We're trying to figure it out. Who were you, Jeff?
You should send me the email or something should be done. I haven't received any feedback from you. I haven't received any emails saying that my child is not behaving in the classroom. What's
And
that?
I have tried to speak to her in class and ask why she behaves like that. And she totally blanks me. She ignores me. She acts
Is
like
it
I'm
true?
not there.
Is it true?
Well, I might
Is my child saying true?
Well, she doesn't want, she's not interested. She's obviously not
I
interested.
am interested.
No, but
you are not encouraging me. You are not an encouraging teacher. You're supposed to be there for all of your students, and you've got your little pets and your little shoes in the class, and some of us you just forget about and you don't care about us. We're paying for our education.
Well, I'm so sorry you feel that way, but your behavior stops everybody else is learning.
No, but this is not a matter of sorry. It was getting very serious, and you should have sent me the email, and which I haven't received even one email from you. This is not the way the system works.
We're talking now, aren't we?
No,
I'm too busy to send lots of emails.
No, but still, it's a matter of my child. You can't do this in front of the students and in front of you only saying like not comfortable and you are bullying her, whatever. This is not done. The way the teacher doesn't work like this. Oh. You should have some responsibilities. After all, as a parent, I send them to school just for, their safety is in your hand. And the school is a place where they should be very comfortable.
We have rights. Right? We have rights,
I can't judge at the moment you're both very dominant.
No, we are not dominant. This is what we, as a parent, I feel sad for my child. And as
Okay.
a child, he's also suffering, you know, she's also suffering.
I am
And
suffering.
from
I
the
am
teacher
suffering,
point of
Mum.
view-
And you know, you're kind of part of it as well, because you're not really helping me in dealing with the teacher properly. So I'm the one who's losing out here. I'm losing out here. Can I just say that, you know, because I'm younger than you, because I'm the child in the situation, I'm the one who's going to have to suffer most of all, because neither of you are supporting me correctly.
So
No,
how can I make this better? What can I do to make this situation much more
Well,
positive?
you probably can't. You probably can't, because I don't think you have the capacity to do it.
Mm.
No, but what I feel, if you can expand your more emotions towards your teacher, I think she can find the solution in that way, because in anyhow, you have to study in this school, don't you?
No, I can go to a different school.
No,
Enroll me somewhere else.
no.
Pay more money
It's
and we'll
not
get better
possible. It's not
education.
possible at the moment. So please, you tell your in details so that
All
she
right,
can figure
guys.
it out and she can help you.
I'm gonna pause it there. And I think Sarah is the one who's got to guess what status she was.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
think probably Kirsty's 1.
Right.
And maybe Tamana is 2, because I felt quite that I couldn't. They both were quite domineering and dominant.
They were, weren't they?
Yeah. Sorry, we got a bit too into it, but yes, you're absolutely right, Sarah.
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
quite hard thinking about it afterwards. It's quite hard to come in at lower status when you're trying to judge where you are in the pecking order.
It is
So they were
hard.
both kind of, you had to kind of get a foothold in and try to communicate with us.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
hard, but it is something we do every day. You know,
Yes.
when you're entering into a conversation, you're kind of immediately sussing out where other people think they are in the pecking order, where you would like to be and where you actually are. And it sometimes goes a bit like that, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it changes during the conversation. Tell you what, I'm going to bring us back to the main room, because I think that was really fun to watch and talk about it. I always forget that I'm muted when I come back into the main room. But one thing I like about this exercise is it seems to lead to quite animated conversations. When you've got people who want to establish themselves as high status, they really do kind of push to do that. And it might, you know, I think this kind of improvisation is probably quite different from some more professional relationships. Say you've got a staff meeting, for example. Okay, you've got the head teacher who is going to be high status, but the other teachers generally will give each other a fair chance to talk. You know, maybe there'll be a head of year who people will defer to slightly. So I was just talking about how this relates to everyday life, and how sometimes when you come into a conversation, you're trying to work out who thinks they are high status and where you are and where you would like to be. And what I noticed by watching a couple of those scenes is that people's status changed during the conversation. At one point, one was up here and then 2 came up. You know, it was like that between 1 and 2, and then 3 was definitely down there because they weren't getting a word in edgewise. But you know how like life that can be sometimes when you're having a conversation and you've got 2 people going hammer and tongs at each other, and you don't, you know, you just can't get in there. So what did other people? Those are my comments. What did other people notice about the exercise? Anybody? What did you find out when you did it? And can you think of ways to improve it? Or other ways that you might play it, Nabila?
So I would think, like, with this pecking order, having maybe an outsider try and guessing what the pecking order was, who was
Mhm.
who,
Mhm.
as opposed to having somebody in the pecking order having to work out where they are, having a complete outsider do it.
That's good, because when I went into the second breakout room, I didn't know what status anybody was, and it was really interesting trying to work it out as a member of the audience. So that could be something that groups could do if you were doing the thing that Sarah suggested of groups watching each other. Then one group could watch the other and try and work out the pecking order. I think the exercise that I've done with you is quite advanced. And we used to do that as actors, but beginning drama students would probably find it easier to do what you've suggested, Nabila, to be told what pecking order they are. And this could come at a later stage if they were ready for it, you know. Yeah. Kirsty next.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think that there's a temptation when you're, of course, when you're a small group and we're doing an improvisation, to do quite a lot of talking. Whereas quite often a higher status person just doesn't say so much and just kind of observes and just is above the others. But there's a temptation to show that I'm digging it, I'm dominating here. And that's what happened in our group. Is 2 and 3, we became quite dominant, and it was hard for the third person, who was number 3, to figure out where they were going to be in that order. You know, there are lots of different ways to play it, but when you're doing it on Zoom and you're doing it in a group with people you don't know, for the meeting for the first time, there's that temptation to make your voice heard, I think, if you're playing a higher status person.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen, for that comment. Yeah, you missed the exercise, but it was a status game. And what I would suggest is that before you play this game, Nabila and anybody else, you do some status exercises. And one of the ones that I often use is status picture. And I simply get the students into pairs, and I tell them, we talk about what status is, and I give them some obvious examples, some stereotypical examples, and then I ask them to make a freeze frame where one is obviously of higher status than the other, and they usually end up with something like one person doing that to the other one and the other one going, you know, like that kind of thing. And then once you've got them to do that, I normally then go round the pairs and get them to show and ask the rest of the people who they think is number 1 and number 2. And sometimes it can be very different to what was intended. And you can also then start to pick out the body language. So if you've got somebody like that, you can say, well, or they're looking up at someone like that, what are they doing? They're physically making themselves smaller. They're being defensive. They might not be making eye contact, whereas the person of higher status is probably looking directly at the person with lower status. The person with higher status would have quite strong gestures. The person with lower status might have more kind of curved shape or protective shape. And just to look at what people produce as a way of getting into talking about how people show status. But as any more experienced drama teacher here will know, status is an ongoing thing that you can refer back to in scenes all the time. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not set in stone. So somebody can be higher status at one moment, and then the tables can be turned the next. So there's loads to play around with. And Kirsty, what would you like?
Sorry to jump in again, just to say, it's really interesting to get a group of students when you're working together and just have 2 of them, like David said, starting with something quite strong, and to make it gradually more and more subtle. And with an older group of kind of teenage kids, and one person standing behind the other, looking away, and asking them who is higher status in that situation. is the person behind higher status. If they look to that side, just tiny little subtle changes with their body language, with the direction they're looking at. It's really interesting, maybe with a small gesture, but you can reduce it and make it really quite small. And it's very interesting what the students observe from that. I've done that a few times with older groups.
Another thing that I thought might be good for teenagers is to show them some movie clips, some iconic movie scenes with 2 or 3 characters, and get them to discuss what would the status be of those different characters. Was it always the same with Darth Vader and Han Solo or whoever it might be, or did it change according to what was said or what they discovered about each other? So that could be I would do that kind of work. Anyway, guys, I don't like to keep people beyond the hour, and we've had an hour now, so it's short and sweet. And this is recorded, so you can watch it back if you missed some of it or would like to watch it again. So any final comments, questions before we say goodbye?
Are you able just to show us the Highwayman video?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. So that won't take very long at all. So let me just get it set up. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I certainly did promise that, and I would like to show some of it. So let's do a share and share sound, and let's share screen and go to, here we go. Right. So if I open that with QuickTime Player, right, and make sure it's the right video this time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is jump about in the video to show you some different bits of it, all right? Here we go. So this was using words from the Highwayman poem, and they literally went through the poem, but played about with different styles throughout.
Came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door.
Okay, so there's some choral work there. Let's have a look at this.
His face was white and peaked. His eyes were hollows of madness. His hair like mouldy hay.
So that's really nice with the different subgroups reading different parts. So the teacher, Mal Smith, thank you, Mal, wrote the music for this. It's lovely, isn't it? So and the great thing about The Highwayman is it's a poem that scans, and it's really easy to put to music. You can use tunes that you already have. So let's have a look at another section there. There you go. So yeah, really, really polished performance of physical theatre, choral speaking and singing. So hope that inspired you a bit, and it's been great to see some people that I know and some new people as well. Thanks for coming along, and to wherever you are in the world, goodbye, good night, good evening. Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.